Hi. So overnight we've had quite a lot of snow, well, a lot for the UK I guess, but now it's super misty as well. Really challenging conditions for photography. I'm just climbing up now through the woods. So scenic. I want to try in these challenging conditions. So I've just climbed up to the top now of the hill in the woods. It's an old Anglo Saxon fort here, which they're doing quite a bit of work on. It's absolutely stunning. I believe it dates from about 400, 500 BC. So it's pretty ancient and they're doing quite a bit of work to renovate it. So, but that's not why I'm here for photography today. I really want to catch some of the mist and some of the atmosphere that we have created by the snow and the mist together. Harsh conditions for photography, very high contrast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and scope out the location and just see what we can find here. So the first composition actually is going to use this old ancient entrance to the Anglo-Saxon fort. You can see the walls coming around here on the left and the right. This was the old entrance from centuries and centuries, well, millennia ago, I guess. But what I really like is the leading lines of the old entrance going out into the misty trees in the background. There is also in the tree just a little bit of autumn colour left in that tree, but then it fades to grey into the distance. So this is my first set of compositions that I'm going to capture here. I'm going to capture some where we have the fog going into the distance, the leading lines of the trail compressed, and I'm going to use the rule of thirds, I think, on this one as well. I really like the compression of the walls, the way that they come together to squeeze the eye and lead the eye into the tree and the mist in the distance. I'm going to try and capture a couple where I encapsulate the whole of the scene, and also one where I'm zoomed in a little bit more, going straight through the entrance to the trees and the mist in the distance. And one of the things in this situation is, because it's so misty and so, not necessarily white, but very grey, there's no sunlight coming through at all yet. I suspect that today could be one of those days where we don't get any sun at all. But what we really need to do is this. I'm shooting this in manual, and the reason for that is because I want to make sure that I get my histogram correct. I want to make sure I'm exposing to the right to make sure I get all the detail. But what I want to do is not underexpose. The meters on cameras, even modern cameras, digital cameras, really struggle with this kind of high contrast light. So what I want to do is make sure that I get the mist effect and the colours in the actual tree as well at the end of autumn. And so what we've got here are a series of images, both landscape, portrait, wide angle to really encapsulate the scene, and zoomed in. So let's take a look at these images, and if you like these images and you're finding this useful, before we go on to the next location, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Your support for the channel is massive. Okay, without further ado, here is the first short gallery from this location, which, as I say, is millennia years old. So we're leaving the entrance to the Anglo-Saxon fort now. I was quite pleased with those images actually. So let's go and see what we've got. The problem is, I'll just spin you around a little bit. In the works that they're doing for the Anglo-Saxon fort and villages that existed here, they've actually deforested it. This used to be just full of trees, woodland, fern. Now it's all been cut down so that they can excavate the Anglo-Saxon village that existed here. So anyway, enough about the Anglo-Saxon village. Let's head on to our next location. So I've come up to the peak now. This is a place called Oliver's Point here in the woods. I believe it's something to do with Oliver Cromwell. I've no idea. But those trees down there in the valley are absolutely stunning. We're looking down and the mist is covering all of the background. There's some hills in the distance, which we just can't see today. But look at the textures and the colours in those tree trunks. So what I'm going to do here, this is a great example of where you don't want to include the whole of the tree. So I really love to know what you think, because my composition ideas here, and it's starting to thaw a little bit, so I'm getting absolutely drowned under this tree at the moment. But let me know what you think of this composition idea. This is, on some of these, I'll be cutting off the tops of the trees. Some I will be cutting the bottom, some I'll be including. So let me know what you think, because I think that there's a temptation with a tree to always include the whole of the tree, from the base of the trunk right through to the tips of the leaves at the top. And I think that the best tree images are sometimes not taken when you're taking the whole of the tree. We know what a tree is, we know what a tree looks like. So actually, by capturing the essence of these trunks, the snow on the branches of the tree through the trunks as well, I think that gives us some different images, and I think those are actually better photographic images. I'm actually testing my 18:1 50 lens, which I recently got with the camera. This is the first real run out it's had, and I'm actually loving it. The depth of field is really excellent, and the zoom capabilities on it are superb. So I'll probably, at some point when I do an update on the R7, we'll do an update with that lens as well. But I'm gonna just get these images pretty quickly, because I'm getting absolutely soaked here as the snow on the tree above me is thawing out. I'm now at our final location, and this place just keeps getting better and better. Absolutely stunning. The autumn colours are still all on the floor down the valley. This lovely leading line going down there. There's so many compositions I could talk through here. I'll include some of these in the gallery coming up shortly, and some of the composition ideas. But what I'm really attracted by is this tree just here. If you can see this tree, the last autumn colours are in the tree. The white of the snow on the trunk and the branches create great contrast, and this is where the technical aspect of the shots are coming in. All of the shots that I'm taking are straight off, by the way. There's no exposure blending or anything of that nature. What you're going to see and what you've been seeing so far is just as shot. So what I'm really doing, this is why manual is so critical, because it really allows you to use that histogram to get the exposure right in these tricky high contrast but also soft light of the mist. These kind of conditions can be really tricky for metering. So by going into manual, you can effectively ignore your metering of your camera and just use the histogram. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for some of the images against those colours there and the trees. I'm going to then spin the camera around and get some of these leading lines through the wood. And then I'm going to spin around as well. And what you can see is all of the colours, the forest, the green. We've got the green, and the floor is just covered in the autumn leaves. So let me get set up. As I say, I'm going to composition in that direction, a composition in that direction looking down the hill, and then some compositions in particular of these branches and these leaves here. So I really hope that you're going to enjoy this gallery. I've really loved it here today. The conditions have been, it's cold, it's wet, but the conditions have been absolutely brilliant for photography. So enjoy this final gallery, and until next time, thank you very much for your time in watching this video, and I will see you again soon.